You're 19 years old, and you owe a man named Vincent Caruso $4,000. Not loan shark money, gambling debt, poker game in the back of a dry cleaner on Federal Hill in Providence, Rhode Island. You thought you were good at cards. You weren't. Vincent's guy, a quiet man named Sal who never blinks, collects on Thursdays. It's Wednesday. You don't have the money. Your Uncle Frank works at the docks, has for 30 years. He knows people, not connected, adjacent. He makes a call, says he can smooth it over if you come work for Vincent's crew a few months, drive packages, keep your mouth shut, consider the debt forgiven. You say yes because you don't see another option. That's always how it starts. Not ambition, not greed, desperation wearing a suit. The first job is simple. You drive a town car from Providence to a hotel in Warwick. You wait in the parking lot for 40 minutes. A man gets in the back with a briefcase. You drive him to an office building on the other side of the city. You never learn his name. Your cut is $300. The debt was $4,000. You do the math. You keep showing up. Vincent Caruso runs what's left of a New England crime family that peaked in the 1970s. Federal prosecutions gutted the leadership twice. The men who were left are older, careful, and tired in a way that looks like patience. Vincent is 61, silver hair, drives a 10-year-old Buick, wears the same brown jacket every Tuesday. He looks like a retired pharmacist. He is not a retired pharmacist. Within 6 months, you're not driving packages. You're driving Vincent. He likes you because you don't talk. Most guys your age are performing, trying to sound tough, dropping names, proving something. You just drive. You hold doors. You wait outside restaurants for 3 hours without complaining. You don't ask questions. To a man like Vincent, silence is the rarest quality in the world. He starts talking to you like you're furniture, and furniture hears everything. You learn that the dry cleaner fronts a sports betting operation running through 4 states. You learn that the hotel in Warwick is where they meet with a city councilman who controls zoning contracts. You learn that the quiet man named Sal, who never blinks, has made 4 people disappear since 1987 and considers this a professional accomplishment. You learn all of this by saying nothing and paying attention. Then one morning, a car follows you from Vincent's house to a bakery in Johnston. Government plates. You notice it because you've been trained by proximity to notice everything. You don't tell Vincent. You sit with it. 3 days later, 2 men in khakis and windbreakers are waiting outside your apartment. FBI. Special Agent Karen Marsh and her partner, Agent Dina Poli. They know about the town car. They know about the hotel. They know you've been present at 6 meetings in the last 4 months that are part of a larger RICO investigation targeting Vincent's network. They are offering you a choice. Cooperate and walk, or don't cooperate and get folded into the indictment they're building, which includes wire fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering. You're 20 years old. The sentencing guidelines, Dina Poli says without blinking, would put you away until you're 35. You ask for 48 hours. They give you 24. You sit in your apartment and think about your Uncle Frank, who made the call that put you here. You think about Vincent, who treats you better than most adults ever have. You think about Sal, who disappears people, and the councilman, and the betting operation, and the $4,000 that started all of this. You call Marsh in the morning. You say, yes. They wire you up for the first time on a Tuesday. The transmitter is smaller than a matchbook. They tape it under your left arm. Marsh walks you through the protocol in a parking garage. Never ask leading questions. Let them talk. Don't change your behavior. Don't deviate from routine. She says it like a flight attendant explaining emergency exits. Calm. Procedural. Like this is not the most dangerous thing you have ever done. That night, Vincent takes you to dinner at a place in North Providence where the owner locks the door after 9 p.m. for certain guests. 3 other men are there. One is a union delegate named Ferrante. One is a man who flies in from New York twice a year and whose actual name nobody uses. The third is a lawyer named Gould, who specializes in real estate closings and knows how to move money through property sales without leaving fingerprints. They talk for 2 hours. You sit by the door. The transmitter picks up everything. Driving home, Vincent says, "You're a good kid. You know why? Because you understand your role." You nod. In your chest, something feels like it's cracking. The operation runs for 14 months. You are in the room, or just outside it, for 31 recorded conversations. You watch money get laundered through a restaurant supply company, a car wash, and a construction firm that never builds anything. You watch a man get beaten in a warehouse for skimming from the betting operation. You don't stop it. You can't stop it without blowing your cover. Marsh reminds you of this on the phone afterwards. She says it neutrally, the way doctors deliver bad news. You did the right thing. You couldn't intervene. Understood. You do not feel like you did the right thing. There's a man in the crew named Eddie Fella, mid-30s, 2 kids. He joined because his father was in it, and his grandfather before that. It's less a choice than an inheritance. Eddie brings you lunch sometimes. Leftover lasagna his wife makes in aluminum trays. He asks about your family, your life. He's genuinely kind, in the way that makes the whole thing harder. You are recording him every time. 6 months in, Marsh tells you that Eddie is being targeted as a secondary charge, conspiracy. His name is in the transcripts. You ask if there's any way to keep him out of it. She says the transcripts go where they go. The prosecutor decides what to charge. It's out of her hands, out of yours. You knew what this was when you agreed to it. You knew, but you didn't understand yet. The relationship with Vincent deepens in a way you didn't anticipate and don't know how to explain. He invites you to his granddaughter's birthday party. You stand in his backyard in June eating cake while children run around a sprinkler. Vincent watches them with an expression that has nothing calculated in it, just love. Simple, uncomplicated love. On the drive home, he tells you that he's been in this life since he was 17, that he never planned it, that there was a moment, he remembers it exactly, a Sunday in 1981 standing outside a church in Federal Hill, when he could have walked away. He didn't because he didn't believe he deserved a different life. He says, "You're young enough to still deserve something different." He has no idea he's telling this to a federal informant. You go home and sit in the dark for a long time. Marsh calls you the next morning. The indictment is 6 weeks out. They need one more conversation on tape. Vincent confirming the structure of the betting operation across state lines. That's the interstate commerce element that locks the federal jurisdiction. Without it, some charges don't stick. Get it, she says, and this is over. You can start your life. You get it. 3rd week of October. Vincent sitting in the passenger seat outside a coffee shop in Cranston, talking about operations and territories and revenue sharing with the New York family, like he's discussing quarterly earnings. You nod and drive, and the transmitter picks up every word. That's the last time you see him. The arrests happen on a Thursday morning in November. Vincent, Sal, Ferrante, Gould, the union delegate. 11 people total. The news covers it. Federal Hill organized crime bust. 22 federal charges. RICO. You watch it on television in a motel in New Hampshire where Marsh has stashed you for the week. Eddie Fella is on the list. You stare at his name on the screen for a long time. You testify behind a screen at the federal courthouse in Providence. Voice modulated, location classified. You answer every question. You are thorough. Prosecutors thank you privately. Your cooperation agreement holds. You walk. Walking feels nothing like you thought it would. You get a new identity, not witness protection, you don't qualify, but a new state, a new city, a new name on a lease. You move to Columbus, Ohio. You know no one. You get a job dispatching for a trucking company. You're good at logistics, at moving things from one place to another without drawing attention. Old skills. You rent a studio apartment near a highway overpass. At night, the trucks on the interstate sound like presence, like people, and it's better than silence. You don't tell anyone where you came from. Not because you're hiding exactly, because there's no version of the story that ends well at a dinner table. You can't explain who you were without explaining what you did. And what you did, cooperating, informing people you trusted, sits in a category that doesn't have a comfortable name. You weren't a hero. You weren't a villain. You were a 20-year-old with a $4,000 debt and a bad decision, and a federal agent who found you at exactly the right moment. Or the wrong one. Depends on where you're sitting. You Google Vincent Caruso once 2 years later. He took a plea deal. 11 years. He'll be 74 when he gets out, if he gets out. There's a photo from the courthouse steps. Salt and pepper hair. Same brown jacket. He looks smaller than you remember. Or maybe you just remember him differently now that you know what you were doing every minute you sat next to him. Eddie Fella got 4 years. Conspiracy charge. His wife moved back to her parents in Worcester with the kids. You find this in a local Providence news article from a blog no one reads. It's 3 paragraphs. The kids' names are mentioned. You close the browser and don't go back. Marsh sends you a text on the anniversary of the indictment. Just, good work, take care of yourself. You stare at it for 20 minutes. You don't respond. There's nothing to say that both of you don't already know. You date someone in Columbus for 7 months. She's a teacher, patient, funny. She asks about your past and you give her the outline. Grew up in Rhode Island, needed a fresh start, don't have much family to speak of. She accepts it because people accept the stories that don't require them to ask more questions. She's not incurious, she's kind. There's a difference. You end it before it gets deep enough that leaving her would matter, or before she gets close enough to see the shape of what you're hiding. You tell yourself it's to protect her. That's partially true. The rest of it is that you don't know how to be known by anyone anymore. Some nights you think about the birthday party, the sprinklers, Vincent watching his granddaughter, the expression on his face. You think about what he said on the drive home, that there was a moment in 1981 when he could have walked away and he didn't because he didn't think he deserved a different life. You got out, you're in Columbus, you're dispatching trucks, you're alive and free and no one is coming for you. You deserved something different. You're still not sure you got it. The wire doesn't leave you when they take it off your chest. It stays in the way that everything you can't explain stays. Somewhere behind the sternum, low and quiet. Not guilt exactly, not pride. Something without a clean name. Something you'll carry in every room you ever walk into, counting exits out of habit, watching people's hands, sitting with your back to the wall. You're not in the life anymore, but the life is still in you. The story is fiction, but right now, somewhere in a federal building, a 21-year-old is sitting across from 2 agents in khakis, and they're explaining very calmly what cooperation looks like. If this made you think, drop a comment. Subscribe for more. See you in the next one.